all alone. All alone.
Ay, you rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G. Got what you need. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin G. Discussing that heat in the street, and we got just what you need on vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone. I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G. Got what you need. Vitamin G. Got
All
what you need.
alone.
Vitamin G. Ay. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G. Got what you need. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin G. Hey. Final round. I already know how I'm coming, man. Yeah. Tryna run the town. Tell no duck when they hear that sound. How they gon' come up now? Heavy as the head that'll wear that crown. I'm going pound for pound. And if it's by smoke, then we talk all of that. From an ounce to a pound. Take it, they biting this now. Cause my drip right out the seat. How could they be? Give me a couple of rounds. Cause I'm a beast when I'm on vitamin G. You see they start crumbling now. Mad struck, start mumbling now. Get the gist, I ain't reaching for cloud. Plot twist, I'm the one with the keys. Clock glitz, know they love how I freeze. Different continents, I be torn. We living life, making yours look boring. See, we win at the end, it's a spoiler warning. Cause I keep heating up, I might blow the whole planet. They calling me toxic like global warming. But they keep tuning in once again and again. I'm the one at the top just to form a warning. Truly, I'm De Niro when it come to movies. Get De Niro, entertain the groupies. Habanero if you come pursue me. But I hop on the game, too busy rolled up whenever my girl getting moody. Link up with the gang, we all go insane. Catching them bills on the duty. On the stick, see I'm locked in. Bought a box, I was like 10. Back then, used to box, nowadays they ain't throwing hands. Mama said we got more advanced. One thing about me, I adapt, bought a Glock fin. Keep me safe from the block in. The game kept me off the block. Ain't got flex about looting my Ruger. I can shit on you with my computer. See my graphics card costs more than your damn job can afford to pay you. And my monitor, big as hell, detail, so I can see when I spray you. Then reload the clip and record the clip. It's go all say to that SSD. Know a whole lot of trill game heads like me wanna see tuned into that VGP.
Take over the west and the east. Hey, we got just what you need on vitamin G.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dante Crisis back with another dose of your weekly vitamin G, and I hope you're all ready, and I hope you like this whole new layout that I got going, because I will be your host for the next while FC is in physical therapy. But I do hope the boys and everybody here enjoys what I've been able to put together for this. Oof, and brought out the whip as well. Alright. But first of all, ladies and gentlemen, let's get our intros out of the way. First, my Xbox brother with the dreadlocks, Jubei Sensei. What's going on, Jubei? What have you been up to? You know, I might have a few indies to check your way, to throw your way. Then, if you haven't already played them, but we can talk about that at another time. What? What? That's no. That's weird. Hold up. Okay, yeah, they can definitely hear me. Okay, what about now? Try talking now. You better talk.
Yo, can you hear me?
Okay, there we go. Now we got it. Okay, would not be a VGP if we didn't have a technical difficulty. I had the desk, because here's the thing: setting up the OBS. Just so everybody knows, setting up the OBS, I had it set to my default desktop audio, when I don't actually have the VGP coming through my desktop audio, I have it coming through my monitor, which is where my headphones are connected. So that's why they didn't hear it. I do apologize, Jubei, if you please would not mind just reaccounting what you just said.
Okay. All right, we're back.
Yeah, we're good.
So yeah, I've been spending this past week playing indies. I just finished Mighty Goose. I need to get back into Deathloop. Yeah, my backlog is killing me. So I'm like fatigued at this point on like open world games and things like that. So indies have been scratching the itch and making it tolerable.
Careful, otherwise your girl might send you to therapy as well.
I did get in on Halo also, but we'll talk about that
We'll
later.
be talking about Halo impressions today. Okay, again, I apologize, everybody. This is going to be the first and only fuck up. Believe me, I'm not FC. All right, moving on. The other Xbox man of the panelists, Pharaoh. What have you been playing today, sir?
I've been playing Madden and Tales of Arise.
Madden and
yeah, so I do Madden typically like before the games, for the actual real football games start, I'll play, and during the rest of the week I've been playing Tales of Arise. I am live streaming, so you guys can come through. You know,
I've been there for like
Twitch,
80% of them.
So, you know, yeah, Jube's been a strong supporter. Appreciate it. And you know, it's all good.
Yeah,
I come through on Dante's post, but Dante posts he streams during our working hours.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
yeah, I know. I'm sorry that I am British and that I must stream during my time.
Yeah, you're 5 hours ahead of us.
Yeah,
I'd be like, this man is streaming. The sun ain't even up yet. This man is streaming. I'm like, I'm going back to sleep.
Well, he's 5 hours ahead of us. He's more for you. He's like 8 hours ahead of you, right? Yeah. So.
Right. 7. I think it's closer to 7. Yeah, 7.
Yeah, and yet I'm here at 1 a.m. my time to do this damn stream for you guys. I mean, what does that say about loyalty? I wonder.
Yeah.
Alright,
hey, who's periodically in your streams and will send a message or two, you know, of love? It's Pharaoh.
Zero.
So
I was about to say 0.
I actually turn in pretty much, but I'm still working from home.
That's true.
So
Zero,
occasionally,
you're gonna wanna show up tomorrow or today because it's actual chain today. All right, but moving on to the man himself, the lowly man on the Nintendo poll. Here on the VGP, we have Zero. What have you been playing, my guy?
doesn't matter how high you are on the pole. It just will matter so long as you knock the pole down. Oh, wait. And now I can talk about all the Marvel stuff I want without any haters coming through and trying to slander anything. That's right, FC. I hope you're listening.
Yeah, I was ready to say he probably is listening. He probably is listening. That just summoned him. It's like saying Candyman in the fucking mirror 3 times.
Wow.
Well, if he's listening, he needs to come through in the chat.
Right.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, please.
All right.
Hit that notification bell so you know.
But I have been still playing a bit of Deathloop. I really wanted to play the Halo beta this weekend. Went to a friend's house, and it just wasn't. I guess the service was just a little messed up at the time, so it just wasn't cooperating. So it hurt my heart. Otherwise, that's largely been it. What Deathloop? I decided to take a strong trip down nostalgia lane for a game that I don't think I've played in over 20 years. But the original Final Fantasy VII.
Hey.
I've been playing that a little bit myself.
Yeah, I was going through because on PS Now, what's the proper term? It's not a remake, I guess remaster.
It is.
Yeah, because the sprite work is better, and they do a lot of the. They speed things up, which is the greatest invention for any JRPG ever. You hit that L3, everything moves fast, ×3 speed. So that's absolutely fantastic.
It is, right? It gets rid of that lull you get with having to grind.
Yeah, and because I'm so very familiar, I've played it so many times just years ago. It's not nothing new here. So admittedly, and Omar could probably get on me for it as much as I talked about like, trophies don't really matter. The goal here is to platinum this original Final Fantasy VII.
Good luck.
Just to have video game bragging points about like, I beat Ruby Weapon, guys. I did it.
Well, now you
are
got
you
the
going to,
invincibility
though?
button you can hit.
That is true.
Said that already.
That is true. That
Yeah,
is
Yeah.
like if you click down on the stick, it gives you invincibility, so you can just kind of play through the game, which I think is cool because I'm sure a lot of people played the remake and were like, I want to see what the whole damn story is about, what these scenes meant. And they can just play through it real quick and kind of see it.
And for something like that, I agree as well. It's like I don't necessarily fault you for not wanting to jump back and play an almost 20-year-old game and deal with 20-year-old game problems, where you can just sort of move through it. Like, oh, okay, I get where these people are, where they come from, what they're about, and then play remake and have a good time with it.
With remasters, quality of life improvements are always welcome, and honestly, in my opinion, should be mandatory if you're going to remaster a game, because I mean, you're effectively making somebody pay for a game again when you could just buy the original and get the same experience. So quality of life improvements are incentives to actually purchase the remaster.
Yeah, and Kofi, help me out. Because all the Trials game I played, I know are pretty old, but like by default, do they come with speed options?
No, so the original Vita and PS3 versions of Trails of Cold Steel did not have the fast forward, but PS4 and PC do.
Interesting. Okay.
All right, and okay, are you done yet?
Nope, that's it. Yep, I'm done.
All right,
Sorry.
cool. And moving on to the PlayStation side of things, Omar, what the hell have you been playing?
Kena. Yeah, Kena. I'm trying to get to the final. Not to get to the final boss. Beat the final boss with for Kena on the hardest difficulty, so I can get the platinum and move on. I already have Ace 9 downloaded and ready to go. But yeah, final boss for Kena on the hardest difficulty is not Lausch. And other than that, been mad busy with Patron on Twitter, and I started my own show, which episode 2, Game Player. Had a great conversations. But yeah, that's about it.
Alright, good shit. Go and check out Omar's cast, because I'm not, despite what everybody might assume, I'm not evil. And I don't hate him, just sometimes.
Does it have a name yet?
Yeah, Game Player.
Gameplay, okay, alright.
Alright, and moving on to the other PlayStation man of the hour, the I would say, the resident multicultural man himself, Kofi. What have you been up to, my man?
What's going on, guys? It's been like 3 weeks since I've been gone, so sorry for missing you guys. It's always great to come back home.
We missed you.
Yeah, I missed you guys too, seriously. Mondays go by and I go, man, just the time goes by too fast. Tales of Arise has been was the main thing I was playing. I got to 50 hours, and I was on Omar's podcast saying some negative things. There's just one thing that bothers me about the game, but we're not talking about that right now. Otherwise, I love it. It's so fun, and I'm pretty sure I'm in the final couple of dungeons, maybe 3 dungeons tops. But obviously playing blind, so I'm not too sure. And then, of course, on the 29th, Kuro no Kiseki came out in Japan. And then I joined the Zero Field team again to do our fan translation. We had an official meeting that felt like a job. And I actually really loved it. They're very organized, but they're very humble. And then I had the opportunity to go on a live stream with another YouTuber. His name is February Night. He always streams Trails games. And me and the project lead for this translation did a live stream of the entire prologue and just randomly translated whatever we felt like. It was really, the point of it is February Night was doing text capture to put in the spreadsheet for us to translate. But if you just want to see it with us randomly commenting on what's happening, you can see me and Corey doing that with him playing. And that was just absolutely fun. I've never been on a stream with other Trails people, like people who, like, I can just say something and they're like, I know exactly what you're talking about. So I had such a good time. So I'm still in chapter 1 of that game, but it's so good. And yeah, man, just excited to get into these topics otherwise.
All right, cool. And speaking of the first topic, ladies and gentlemen, the first topic today is actually going to be Halo 5 impressions of the multiplayer beta that was recently out. Who here has actually played the multiplayer beta? I'm assuming Jubei, you definitely did, didn't you?
Yep.
Pharaoh, were you able to give it the beta a try?
Nah, I wasn't.
Okay, so Jubei, I'm assuming you're the only one who's actually been able to give the beta a try, right?
Yeah, that hurts my feelings actually.
I tried, I swear to you, I tried, but unfortunately there's only so many hours in a day for me, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, what you're watching on stream right now is some footage from the pre-release, obviously, multiplayer beta. It's looking fucking, I'll admit, it's looking slick. I mean, I'm sure FC played it because he's done nothing but fucking talk about it, but unfortunately, FC just didn't.
Yeah, it looks good. I'll say that.
I did share a little clip of some hammer shenanigans that I pulled off last night on my Twitter page, but
good to see that fucking gravity hammer back. Oh
yeah,
fucking gravity hammer. I hate it so goddamn much. All right, but seeing as you let's get you up first. Like, tell us every detail that you can about the multiplayer.
So big team battle is if the maps and everything work out and it's on the trajectory I think it's on, it's going to be something special, hopefully. There's just like a flow to like this 12-on-12 that you just don't find in any other mode so far in the multiplayer that I played. You know, like this is the mode that you got vehicles, like pretty much every tool in the game is at your disposal.
So it's like heavy from what was it? Heavy the heavy mode from the Master Chief Collection, where you get all the vehicles, all the weapons on these big maps.
Right. Some of the power weapons, they're like behind like doors that you got to use your AI to open. So that it's a timer. So it takes like a minute to open the door, which is balance, for balancing there, because you can literally a whole point of the game will be to control those doors to make sure that you get your hands on the power weapons or prevent other people from getting their hands on them. Movement's great. Obviously everybody's using the grapple shot, which is fantastic. It just makes traversing and just combat in general, just adds another dimension to it, because you never know if the person running at you is going to like grapple and like launch themselves at you or what have you. Some people are doing some pretty cool things with custom games too. Like somebody made a custom infected game with like grapple shots and hammers and swords and all that. And I think it would be interesting to give like alphas and like that. If you've played Infection and Halo before, like give like alphas like infinite grapple shot, and everybody else like humans repulsors to kind of push the waves back. So all in all though, just going from what we got with the first alpha in July to this, like the improvements are vast. Like it fills me with dread thinking about if this game had launched like it was supposed to last year, we weren't going to get this.
Yeah, so
like not even close.
So a couple of things. Would you say this is the best? Like just maybe it's a bit presumptuous to ask this, but would you say this is the best Halo multiplayer you have played, even from the pre-release? Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's
like even going back and playing once the beta ended, you couldn't get back in. I went back and played Master Chief Collection, and the only game I honestly really want to play in that is Halo 2 Anniversary. Everything else is meh.
Oh, I know that. I know that all too fucking well. Dante, let's play Halo 2 Anniversary. Dante, let's play Halo 2. Then everybody else chimes in. Dante, let's play Halo 2 Anniversary. Fine, Halo 2 fucking Anniversary.
But no,
from what I see, that game is going to have the same type of swarm to it that Outriders had. You just got to avoid a major bug and your server's crashing, and that game's going to be extremely successful.
It should be, because I mean, like, we're talking like gameplay wise, like it's like Halo 3 and then like the movement of 5. So it's like the best portions of Halo multiplayer kind of all thrown into one game.
with a new vertical dynamic of the grappling.
With a new vertical dynamic with the grapple.
Does it have a sprint? Yeah, of course it has a sprint.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of some capture the flag matches, and I like how the grapple was used.
Like you can grapple the flag and all that. It literally adds just another thing to the game.
Yeah,
you can't grapple it initially. Like if it's in their base, you can't just grapple it out of their base. You have to like physically pick it up. But if you pick it up and drop it, you can then grapple it at that point. You just can't grapple it to get it initially.
Okay, then I have another quick question to ask. Would you say this is an evolution, just off the top of your head, would you say this is an evolution that has been as good as Halo is, and as fun as Halo is, and this goes for anybody here, I'd actually just like any thoughts on this. Given how good Halo is, and has been, how much staying power it has had, and how very little, let's be honest, it has changed as far as like movement speed, would you say this is a very, very long overdue upgrade to Halo's movement with the grappling hook and added verticality?
Not even just the grappling hook, just even just how the sprint functions. How the sprint functions. It's not tied to like an armor ability like they had in Reach, which was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Like I shouldn't have to be able to choose between sprint and a jetpack. Like give me both. But yeah, like just if you once you realize like sprinting and sliding and things like that, you can get around the map pretty damn quickly. When you kind of understand how all the mechanics work and play together. Grenade jumps are still definitely in it, like it's a classic Halo thing. It's pretty much like whatever's not broke, don't fix it. But exactly. And here's a grappling hook.
Yeah, because like I'll admit, just from personal experience playing obviously the other Halo games, like having played all of them, like not over the years, but like all together with the Master Chief Collection, I sort of realized this really has not changed all that much in like fucking 20 years.
Yeah, I mean the triangle is still the same. It's rock paper scissors with grenades, melee, and guns.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed.
No, some things don't need to change, but I feel like there was like that's why I'm saying with the grappling hook, is this long overdue? Like, should this have been something that was added with like 5 or even Reach?
Absolutely, just based off of the defensive capabilities of it and the offensive stuff you can do with it. Like you can use it to run, absolutely, but you can also use it to close distance, grab things that are out of reach. You can use it like everybody's been using it to basically steal banshees and flying vehicles and shit. Some people use it to smack on a warthog and catch up to it and hit it with a hammer. Like I mean, there's just it just adds a dynamic to it that wasn't there before.
The guts, like, because it feels like definitely Halo, even though they're following the trend when they used to be the trendsetters, I feel like this is one of those situations where it's good to follow the trend that we're seeing a lot of these like power fantasy kind of shooters embracing extra verticality, which let's be fair, kind of started in 2016 with Doom. Like that seems to have brought it back, and I'm glad that it's actually continuing, because then maybe we'll get more games that are open to this kind of verticality.
Oh, absolutely. And even the fact that you can now pick up like fusion coils and shit and literally like lob them as like grenades. Like, before those are kind of stationary, you got to shoot them. You can actually like pick them up and like, get utility out of them, move them around and chuck them.
Cool.
So it's little things like in the grand scheme of things, you're going to think that, oh, that's not that big thing, but it's another option. It's something.
Does anybody have anything they want to ask Jubei, seeing as he's the only one who played the beta? Any concerns or anything you want to ask him to expand upon?
Quick question. I heard there was oh, I'm sorry, Reggie, you go ahead.
Go ahead, Kobe. Yeah.
What I was going to say, I heard there was rumors of like some huge battle royale style mode. Did you hear anything about this since you started playing, or
nothing like that? Like the only huge battle mode we got was big team battle, which would be the 12-on-12 with the big ass map. And they split that up. It's like you're either playing Slayer or a big ass capture the flag, or you're playing like basically territory control. You score if you have all three of them, kind of thing. But yeah, nothing as far as battle royale, because I honestly don't think that this game would need it. Because I also have to think how you're going to pull it off and how would that work. What Spartan launches onto anywhere without a weapon of some kind. It's going to be kind of weird. I don't know how they're going to do it. So, is it on the table? Sure, but I honestly think a battle royale mode is going to come from the community. I don't think it's going to officially come from Bungie. I think once Forge comes out, the community is going to hop in and kind of make that happen. Not Bungie, 343. Sorry. Yeah, I think that's going to be more of a community-driven thing than 343 actually putting resources in to try to build a battle royale mode. I'm pretty sure everything that you need for it is going to be in Forge and in the game, but I don't think they're going to do it.
I think with Forge they might impose limitations because these multiplayer games that they've got, these multiplayer maps that they've put out are the size and detailed by design, so it doesn't break that 4K 60 frames per second. So I feel like if Forge, they're definitely going to implement limitations to where you can only have X amount of things in the map that you're creating for X amount of players. So I don't think we'd actually see a battle royale made in Forge, purely because if they allowed that, you'd see frame rates just tanking down because the people would just be adding way too much detail with way too big a maps with way too many people.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. It's kind of a wait and see thing. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the ability to do it is in there. Now, the scale of that might only be 30 players tops. You feel me? Like that. I'm not saying that's going to be a full 100 players. I just can't see that as being possible and keeping the performance where it needs to be.
Yeah, but
Yuri in the chat does make a good point as far as Titanfall, like doing stuff with.
Yeah, but like I said, Titanfall 1 when that came out was, let's be fair, was kind of a blip on the radar as fun as it was, and Titanfall 2 didn't even take off because EA fucking killed it. EA killed it by putting it in between them.
Oh, absolutely, but the movement, like.
Oh, definitely movement. The
verticality of the movement, like it's important.
Yeah,
like
true,
now I more often than not I'm looking at a game and realizing how limited my movement options are.
Yeah,
and it stands out.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm slightly worried about with Battlefield 2042. Kofi, you had a question for Jubei?
Well, I think it was Reggie. I had interrupted Reggie.
Oh yeah, Reggie. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, a general thing is like, so it sounds like 343 is got it together this time.
As far as the multiplayer, yes.
Beta. We should also clarify. They've got it together for the multiplayer beta. We don't know what it's going to be like when it launches and people flood them damn servers like a swarm of fucking cockroaches during the 9 plagues.
I mean, getting into a match took maybe like 10-15 seconds. So it was pretty quick.
And I think, to be fair, it'll probably most things tend to just launch with a bit of server issues. I think it's just
absolutely. It's just
they better take all the resources from Skype for a day and
I don't think they're gonna have a major server issue. Like obviously, if they shoot themselves in the foot with that, then that's not good. Because you got to think this shit's coming out on Steam. It's gonna be like Steam is definitely
like anybody and everyone who wants to even try it is going to try it within that like first week probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
With the holiday season, when people get their Xboxes or whatever their gaming console, whatever, for the first time during the holidays, like it's going to be a lot of people on there, at least trying it out. I'm not saying that they're going to stick around and be playing it 3 months later, but you need to have your servers rocking and rolling. So whether they stick to the game or not, they at least leave the game with a good impression.
Absolutely. The other thing is I also don't the one knock I have is honestly just how the battle pass levels up. It's kind of just meh.
I meant to ask about that. How do you do that?
So there's individual challenges like play 2 multiplayer matches, you get 200 XP. Every 500 XP, you move up a tier in the battle pass.
It's like Apex.
Kind of, yeah.
Apex.
It does give you it gives you the ability to swap whatever challenges you have there for some that are more catered to what you're going to be playing. Because I know there's going to be challenges for modes I'm just not going to touch, and I'm
do my best to skip past
that.
This is it being money grab.
No, because all the shit in the battle pass is
Really?
it's all cosmetic. So it's literally to kit out your Spartan in different colors and different armor sets and things
No,
like that. It has no effect on the game.
I'm
People that
talking.
want to spend money, they can. Like if you want to buy the cosmetics, absolutely go ahead and go do that.
I'm
But
not talking about that. I'm talking about the one that give you the ability to change your challenges.
I see what he's saying.
no.
Oh, they're like limited times you can
Oh,
swap.
the swaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I've seen in the beta. I swapped probably a good 30, 40 times. I don't know if that's just a beta thing. Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Gear starts charging you like iron or whatever.
100 iron after the first swap. So
yeah, I didn't see that. Like, I didn't see anything that used any kind of in-game currency after the first couple of swaps. So, again, this is beta. That could change, but from what I could tell, that's not a thing.
I'm not gonna lie. Even though we get to keep the battle passes and they stay active even after the season is finished, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like that, because if anything, I could see this going a very Gears style. But Gears doesn't actually keep the battle passes, or it's seasonal passes.
You gotta once the season passes over, you kind of gotta go in and spend money to get that shit.
Yeah,
they do that shit on purpose.
But at the very least, Gears allows you to buy a lot of the cosmetics with earned in-game currency as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the devil that you take when you decide to do free to play. They got to make money somehow.
Yeah.
The problem is Gears isn't really free to play in that regard.
Yeah, Gears isn't, but I'm just saying with Halo, I mean, well, they're gonna monetize it somehow, and however that is.
So I guess the thought, because I'm thinking Apex when I'm thinking about this, because I guess that's the system they're probably going to mimic the most. My thought process is the battle pass, like all battle passes, last weeks, and there would be challenges that unlock for each week, and that's how you sort of level up as you go forward.
Not exactly. So all the weekly challenges are there. You just like
from drop. Oh, okay.
From and so you also get there's a bonus piece of gear on the battle pass that you get just for doing all the weekly challenges. So you could literally not do anything else but just weeklies just to get that if that's something that you were interested in.
Interesting.
All right. Well,
in the beta, it was like a gold color of some kind. So it's nothing too crazy, but.
Well, if nobody else has got anything to ask, I think it is time that we move on to the next subject, ladies and gentlemen. And the next subject is the acquisition of Bluepoint Games by PlayStation. So, to anybody who does not know, Bluepoint was recently purchased by Sony, and kind of leading towards what I've said before, and I said this about Insomniac when I said it seems when Sony is interested in buying a studio, they give them an IP to make, or an important IP to make, and if they do really well with it and sales are good, they tend to buy them, because that's what happened with Insomniac, that's what happened, I believe, with House Marquee, and that's now happened with Bluepoint Games. So we're going to talk...
I was going to say, they've given them a couple of projects before. Like, this isn't like Demon's Souls wasn't the first.
No, I mean of recently. That seems to be the trend that they've had. Like I said, this is now the third in a row. Coincidence doesn't always equate to causality, but like that's three in a damn row that this has happened with Insomniac, Marquee, and this.
Yep.
Now,
so I guess whoever made Destruction All Stars is crying right now.
Probably. And you better agree, Titanfall 2 was criminally it was definitely criminally mishandled by EA, because I guarantee you EA wanted that to fail so they could buy Respawn. But yeah, so here's the thing though, a couple of interesting facts about Bluepoint. Their recent game obviously was Demon's Souls, which did sell moderately well, and it is, I think, the second to last most sold Souls game ever. Out of all of the Souls games, it already outsold the original Demon's Souls. It's behind Bloodborne, which I think sold 2 million, while this sold 1.5 million. So that is, in aspect, nothing to sneeze at, but obviously, I don't know, we can't equate to what held back sales. Was it the lack of PlayStations? Was it it only coming out for the PlayStation 5? Was it because it's a difficult game? Because, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
which you can't really even equate that to, considering, like, overall, even though it was multi-platform, Sekiro sold... no, not Sekiro. Dark Souls 3 sold 11 million copies, I believe. So, I mean, it's kind of up in the air. I'd equate this more to just PlayStation's not being in people's hands, because I'd have bought 1 million copies, and I would have kept all of them. But the other thing to keep in mind with Bluepoint as well is they have not made an original game in 15 years. Was it 15 years? Yes, 15 years. They've not.
That's the only thing I'm worried about.
They've not made an original game in 15 years.
Which is why they just said their.
Wait, hold on. Let me get my points out, because I want everybody to address everything I'm saying and give their thoughts on Bluepoint's acquisition and how it could benefit and or be a detriment to Sony. Because the games they put out, for me, just going down the list, have been a good. They've been a mixed bag, but they've also done some really technical, impressive stuff as well. So their first game was Blast Factor, which was back in 2006. They did the God of War collection with God of War 1 and 2, which is not the best. It really is not. The audio mixing, the master mixing in that game is fucking awful. It's absolutely dreadful. They did the Ico and Shadow of the Colossus collection on the PlayStation 3 as well. They did the Metal Gear Solid HD collection for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, which is a fantastic collection, in my opinion.
Yep.
They did the PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale port for the Vita, which is a good port. Like, from a technical standpoint, I've heard is a good port. They did the Flower port for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita. This is the one that's actually impressive. They did the Xbox 360 port of Titanfall. That's the impressive part to me. Is they did
do that, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Wow, they did.
They did, which again which is really impressive. They also did the Nathan Drake collection for the PlayStation 4, the Gravity Rush remastered for PlayStation 4, Shadow of the Colossus for PlayStation 4, and recently Demon's Souls for PlayStation 5. So my thought process is they've acquired a really great technical team if they want to try and revive a franchise. Like, maybe they want to revive the Ape Escape franchise. Give it to Bluepoint. Throw some resources their way. Maybe they could do a really good remake of the Ape Escape games. Well, from everything that's being said, they're doing a brand new IP. So I actually want to start with the Xbox guys first, so the PlayStation guys have more to talk about when we get there. Farrell, what are your thoughts on Bluepoint's acquisition?
Well, I think it's great for Bluepoint. Congratulations to them on being acquired, becoming a first-party studio. And I think it'll allow PlayStation to pursue maybe some of those larger remakes that the PlayStation community has wanted. Like, we've been wanting Legend of Dragoon for forever. Maybe we get that.
Yeah.
True.
So I think that I think that is good in that sense. But I do have concerns of where it places some of the smaller studios in the pecking order. After, we've seen what happened with Bend, which isn't one of the smaller studios. I would say that's one of their more mid-tier studios. So it's like a catch-22, and it kind of makes me wonder. Are a couple more, are they going to go and acquire a couple more bigger studios like they've been doing, and then some of those smaller studios, they kind of shrink them down or get rid of them altogether, kind of like Studio Japan? It's just I'm like in a wait and see mode, because they're acquiring more than I thought they would at a faster rate than I thought they would, and I'm just curious what that means for some of these smaller development studios that they do own.
So what you're effectively roundabout saying is you were wrong. Gotcha.
Wrong about what?
About how fast they'd acquire studios.
Yeah, no, definitely. I didn't think that they would be this aggressive. I thought they would have, acquire a couple. But Firesprite is a fairly large studio. They have over 200 employees, 200 developers. So I mean, so when you had that, you got Nixus, you got Housemarque. And then Bluepoint, that's 4 studios in essentially like less than 6 months. So kudos to them. But I'm just curious what that means for some of the smaller ones. That's really like my only concern right now because we haven't heard anything of what's going on with those smaller studios at all. Like I don't know what Pixel Abyss is doing right now. But,
I think it might be something to do with pixels.
So it's like let's kind of wait and see. Like I'm interested. Like my eye is definitely on Sony right now.
Let's move on to a PlayStation guy, and I know I'm going to leave Omar till last because I know he's just going to talk everybody's ear off.
I said nothing.
Kofi, what do you have to say about Bluepoint's acquisition while I play the Demon's Souls trailer in front of everybody because nobody but me and Jube have webcams?
So I guess I'll start first from a consumer perspective. It's so funny, Dante, that you had mentioned the God of War collection, specifically 1 and 2 on PlayStation 3. I honestly could not tell you what I remember about how the game sounded, but I had played the original games on PS2 and then came back and got the Platinum for 1 and 2 on PS3 with that remaster, and I had a great... I just remember the frame rate and combat being much better. I'm not going to debate you on the sound because it's obviously something that stood out enough for you to remember that.
Oh, yeah.
But I played it back day one. I bought it day one. So I don't honestly remember that. I just remember the performance being so much better than PS2. I mean, obviously with the hardware. And then what was the other game that I played by Bluepoint? I'm forgetting that you had mentioned.
Probably the Metal Gear Solid collection because everybody and their fucking mother had played that.
Yes. So Metal Gear Solid was also really, really fun. And I'm definitely looking forward to what they can do next after something as impressive as Demon's Souls, which I honestly need to return to. I played the original, got into the I have the remaster now or the remake now, but I have not finished it. So I'm just really excited when I hear that they're making, allegedly, they're making additional content, original content. So I believe that's a new game. We don't know for sure. And then, of course, there's a rumor that they're also doing a remaster. I think that's a great way from, I guess, a more creative perspective to make sure life is in the studio. Based on their post on, I think it was on the PlayStation blog, they have been very excited about making their own content for a long time. They just happen to be really good at remasters and now have a reputation for it.
Remake, not remaster, probably. Remake.
Yeah, I corrected myself. Yeah, I said remake. So it seems like a perfect opportunity to go ahead and give these guys a chance. In terms of some of the Pharaoh brings up some good points in terms of the pecking order. Like when we looked at what was it? The last state of play? No. The PlayStation Showcase. So many studios had nothing to say. Now they've tweeted things like, Farrah brings a good point. Like, what's Pixel Opus doing? The only thing we know is that they've tweeted they're working with the Unreal 5 engine and with Disney's animation studios, I believe it was, to make an original game. So that's really exciting. I believe that they're just hard at work at it, and that content will be shown at a state of play. So I guess coming back to the consumer perspective, I know that that's exciting. Some of the things that are being done by Media Molecule in Dreams sounds really exciting. There are additional VR content that's coming out, and they have competitions for best creator almost every other month. I think I had retweeted one of their things from mid last month. So I hope that the pecking order stays healthy as it seems to be. What else about Bluepoint though? There was something significant. Oh yeah. So like a big game like not Demon. So a big game like Legend of Dragoon would be amazing. Any IP that Sony owns that they could remake, I'm pretty much behind it because they don't have a JRPG game or a JRPG inspired game since they're technically not in Japan. At a first party in forever. So, and Level 5's not... Well, Level 5's doing things, but it's different now. So, I'm looking forward to that.
Can they do, for example, Rogue Galaxy without Level 5?
That wholly depends on who owns the rights to the IP and publishing rights.
Right, and like the good news is I'm fairly sure Sony's done enough to get rights to it because it's available on PlayStation Now. And typically titles that go in there are like very uniquely under the house of PlayStation. So I suppose so. That would be pretty crazy. A Rogue
That
Galaxy
would be
remake or
insane.
yeah.
Okay.
White Knight Chronicles or stuff like this would be crazy.
All right. I wanna break between the two opposing sides and bring in an outsider. Zero. What are your thoughts on the Bluepoint acquisition?
What up, guys? I'm in from outside. I think it's cool. Like, good for them. It's funny. Bluepoint has been around for a long time. And I'm thinking of Blur Studios. But I've just never really known about them until like much recently with all the sort of remasters and things that they've been doing. I agree with Dante. It's all of the Devil May Cry, God of Wars, right? That 1 through 3 collection that they redid, where the sound is absolutely.
It wasn't 1, 2, 3. It wasn't 1, 2, 3. It was just 1 and 2.
Okay, because
I believe the PSP games, Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta, were done by a different team.
Because the first one, the first one is on PS Now, and I believe it's the remastered version of it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the very first thing I noticed was like, what's wrong with the sound?
The fucking music
you had to turn it
like
all
cranked.
The way down.
They broke that son of a bitch's dial and cranked it like they went even further beyond level 10.
Yeah, like it's not something. It's immediately noticeable.
Yeah.
Especially because the original God of Wars were very loud. Like, it's booming music and storms and monsters yelling and all these orbs moving and Kratos yelling. Like, it's a lot of sound to not sound good.
Yeah, and like just to give concept, I just want to give concept of this. When I played it on actual hardware on my PlayStation 3, my you know when you have audio coming through speakers or headphones and it's so damn loud you can actually hear the speakers inside your headphones straining and crackling from the sound. That's how loud that damn game is.
Yeah, the crackle is the key point. Like, if anybody wants to like think of like, here's what bad sound is, it's this really hard crackle.
Yeah, it's crunchy.
That's wild, man.
It's crunchy. Yeah,
it's crunchy.
It's not. I might like just do a quick video of it just to show you guys. Like, it's not
like
great.
if you've ever watched like music reviews by Anthony Fantano on the Needle Drop, he mentions that a lot. Like, like when it's just jarringly like what's going on here.
Yeah,
I must have just played the game on silent because to get the plat you had to go through the game twice for both games. And
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if you did go. Like, you're like, I don't really need to hear any of this. But I don't have a lot to say about Bluepoint. I hope they do well. Listen, guys, take it from someone who is part of an organization who just knows that like your favorite thing is never coming. We might just have to put the Legend of Dragoon dreams to rest. It's
put it in a coffin, get it on your shoulders, and dance it to the fucking hole.
Hey, I just people been dying for it. People been asking for it. Now there's a studio that does nothing but remakes. I'm just saying,
bro. It's like Metal Gear Solid. It will never be remade.
I'm telling you from the Nintendo side where, we haven't seen a Kid Icarus in a long time. Golden Sun is never coming.
Yeah, Zero, I agree with you because to make a AAA RPG in that mold would be so expensive.
I'm gonna push.
You can wait until your point. No overlapping because I want to get.
Just make his point.
No, let him go.
Okay, go on.
I just agreed with him. I didn't make a point. I just said I agreed with him.
Yeah, go ahead, Omar. Let's see.
Go on.
My point would be is we got a totally new regime, a new regime that is fan of OG PlayStation games, which is Herman Holt. So if anyone is gonna revive that IP, is Herman Holt. Plus, PlayStation is paying attention to our cry and despair for wanting a new Legend of Dragoon.
So what the hell's my free PlayStation 5? If they're listening to me, where is my free PlayStation 5?
So
in the mail.
The only thing I'll say with that, Omar, is that it was meant to be a Final Fantasy killer, and if you're looking at like Final Fantasy VII Remake, like how they have to do it in parts because of how much it costs.
This is not about
like that right there is kind of
killer. This is about bringing back an IP that Lots of
But
people
that IP,
want.
that was the whole point of that IP. That IP was made to challenge Final Fantasy at the time.
Yeah, I get it. I genuinely get it. But at the same time, this is also a beloved IP that a lot of people want. So you can bring it back without being a quote unquote Final Fantasy killer.
But that's not the point. He's equating how the fact that expenses for making JRPGs like this have gotten so much that Final Fantasy VII. I do disagree with this because I honestly think it's mainly because of how much money Square Enix has bled into fucking licensed product personally. But he's antiquating that if you try and make Legend of Dragoon today, the price point on making a remake like that in the same vein as something like what they've done with Final Fantasy VII, the cost would be astronomical for a JRPG like that. That's what he's saying. Not that it's gonna be a Final Fantasy VII killer. Not that they're gonna go for round 2 and hopefully take the fucking title. He's just talking about if you were to make it today as a remake, it would cost just as much as it's costing for Final Fantasy VII. You know what? I'll even say Final Fantasy 16 will probably cost just as much as that. And
I agree.
And a buttload of money in that.
And I think it'd be interesting if, there are other, because Legacy of Kain is still out there, right? Like, I would put my money on that before I would.
Doesn't Microsoft own the IP?
Do they? I could be wrong.
Now?
I'll look into it.
Yeah.
I think they own the studio. Also, there was a rumor of Legacy of Kain remaster. So
Yeah, I feel like that. And, I too, I don't dislike Legend of Dragoon. I thought it was very good. I don't know, man. Again, because every time I hear it, all I keep thinking about is Mother 3 from the Nintendo side.
oh yeah.
And everybody's like, well, we got Reggie now, and Reggie is gonna he's for the people. He's hearing us, and he did hear us, but they had zero interest in doing it. And the Mother 3 community is
why? Because from what I've heard, the Mother is a beloved IP.
Yep.
From a Nintendo perspective, and me and Dante spoke about it. It's not true, but in my head, I think Nintendo legitimately just forgets they have things.
Yeah.
And just you're right.
If it ain't Nintendo, Mario, if it ain't Mario, Zelda, or Pikachu, yeah, forget about it.
Yeah, they've just forgotten about it. And I guess maybe Samus, but where is Star Fox? Where is Kid Icarus? Where is Golden Sun? Where is Ness? Where is half the cast that is in Smash Bros. Who we haven't seen in decades?
Fuck's it, look how long it took them to make a fucking WarioWare game.
Where's Wario been?
By the way, from what I'm looking at, the publisher of the Legacy of Kain games is apparently still Square Enix Europe. So Square Enix owns Legacy of Kain.
Oh, Square Enix. Oh, then who knows?
Okay, but what is it? Yeah, the first Super Smash Brothers. Ness became so popular after that first Super Smash Brothers.
Yes.
And did they give us a new Ness game? No.
No. We've not.
People were so popular. People loved Ness after that first Super Smash Brothers. People that never even played a game with Ness were pumped for him.
And then had the nerve to add Lucas, and we're like, okay, it's Ness again, and we love him too. Where are these people from? Nintendo's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Same could be said for Samus in the original Smash. She didn't have a game on the fucking on the N64, and people were like,
yeah, it wasn't until the GameCube where she popped up again.
Exactly.
So Omar, I hear you, and I feel your pain on this one. Just I don't know, man. I just don't know, man. I don't want to. I know it sucks. I just don't know, man. On the other hand, at least they can do something else. And I guess what people are saying is Bluepoint wants to make their own game. Which theoretically, let's say they do make, maybe they don't make Legend of Dragoon, but they make something equivalent, equal or lesser value, could be okay.
Here's the thing: even if this next IP fails for Bluepoint, they'll probably just shove them onto just being a remake studio. Bring back this franchise, bring back that franchise. There's a fault. Here's the thing: unlike a lot of these other studios, Bluepoint probably has the best fallback plan ever. We fail at making our own game, we can still remake all yours.
Yeah.
Alright,
Bluepoint will be working for forever.
Oh yeah. They work for Sony, so they will.
There's so many IPs in that graveyard.
Yeah.
You can always dig them up.
All right, Pharaoh. I know you've had. Oh no, not Pharaoh. Sorry, who was it? Jubei. My apologies, my man.
Jubei, yeah.
What do you have to say about Bluepoint's acquisition?
Like I said, I think it's dope. I mean, I'm kind of shocked it took this long. Like, remember they dropped the little stealth tweet and then proceeded to delete it. And Bluepoint never updated their page. It was like, are they getting bought? Like, what happened with that? So it's kind of nice to just kind of see the finality with that, because it was kind of like an unspoken thing. Like, we knew it was going to happen at some point. Like, they just got into the business of just making just PlayStation games, so it was inevitable. What I'm kind of just I'm excited that they're working on their own IP, but I really need to know if they have the chops to do their own world building and lore and shit. Like, they've been able to take stuff that was handed to them pre-created there and modernize it and
Recreate it on a
release
new engine.
and exactly. But what can they do from the ground up as far as storytelling, as far as we don't even know what kind of game to expect. Just because they've had their hands in from Titan, that's a first-person shooter, like to Metal Gear, which is it has its own things to it. So it's like, what kind of game are they making? What genre is it going to be in? And it's these little things that we gotta think about. They obviously have talent, obviously, because Shadow of the Colossus, absolutely beautiful, excellent. It felt just like PS2, but way better than PS2. I can't even look at the PS2 graphics for that. Demon Souls,
beautiful, and performs fucking great as well. For what I've seen.
Exactly. So on a technical level, they have the chops, they have skills, but
the narrative.
we need to see the full package of them not having a crutch of something that's pre-exists to stand on. So it's gonna be exciting. Hopefully it works out well for them. And like Pharaoh said, in the case that it doesn't, or their first new IP kind of flops or whatever, I hope not. But if it does, then I can definitely see them being relegated to just being the remakes, which is totally fine.
That was me that said that, not Pharaoh. Giving him all my credit.
My bad, Dante. But no, I would be totally fine with that too, just because they do good work, and that you're gonna get a good game at the end of the day, and you might see some of your past favorites, return back to a more modern time setting and not have to sit through games that don't really age well when you go back and play them.
All right, and moving on to the last man on the totem pole. Omar, what have you got to say about Bluepoint's acquisition?
Finally.
Oh, I don't care. Moving on. Go on.
Finally, one thing I've been paying attention to is Herman Holt and Jim Ryan have been very aggressive when it comes to purchasing studios. Shuei Ishida came out and said that one of his biggest regret is not buying From Software. So and after what happened with ZeniMax, PlayStation is now thinking we're gonna buy what we can and what we need. When you look at the studios they've bought Housemarque, which is specialized in roguelite, in almost like a bullet hell shoot game. You have now Bluepoint, which specializes in remakes, remasters, but also now they're gonna create their own IP, which they said they're gonna work with. I'm not sure if it's gonna be with Unreal Engine 5, but they definitely wanna create a game that's gonna top Demon Souls visually. They just said that, so can't wait. Of course, my dream game would be Legend of Dragoon. That's just a hill I'm gonna die on, I guess. My question is to Kofi is as follow. Which do you think has the worst blunder? PlayStation with announcing the acquisition of Bluepoint and then remove it from PlayStation Japan, or Xbox with their mini-sun.
Wait. What was the last thing you said? Xbox with what?
Mini-sun. Instead of
Oh,
during
Mina. Oh,
instead of saying Mina-san, she said mini-san.
Mini's on. So I don't even want to like beat up on Xbox because
No,
Hey,
you're
you
going to be
can
doing
beat up
that
on
later.
PlayStation. This is
Well-
on PlayStation as well. That's why I saved you one blunder versus other blunder. Which you think
I
is
would-
worse?
I guess the okay. I'm gonna have to say Xbox is gonna take the L on this. That's only because of my strict obsession with language and making sure you convey it correctly to your market audience. And I think I've seen a lot of products that are not based in Japan, market in Japan, and do a really good job of making sure they have a representative that's good at conveying it. And to be honest, the host was pretty good. I mean, to me, she looked like she was mixed. Like maybe she, may grew up there, but I think she has maybe like international connections. She was very good. I mean, I thought she sounded native.
Is she the
but-
one that got famous on Twitter and or is that different person? 'Cause
Oh, I
there
think
was
it's a completely
another-
different person. Yeah,
there
you're talking
was
about the person who was
another
tweeting
Xbox there.
Halo.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a completely different person. She was, that lady was very good. So I think they're in the right space. And I think speaking Japanese in general, you can get some points for that. I just think it just seems like some things like that don't look like there's enough effort when there's a lot of pressing matters to selling a product there. But I don't know. Like I guess to me, the Bluepoint thing, the bigger L for PlayStation is what Shuhei Yoshida said about From Software not buying that.
Yeah.
That's a big L. The tweet about Bluepoint, this and that. Like to me that.
About that tweet. When was this tweet made?
So it was made by PlayStation Japan the same day as Housemarque was announced for
Right.
acquisition.
Okay. So we're thinking of the same one because I was thinking, did they fucking make the same mistake twice?
Oh yeah, nah.
I was about to say, no, if they made that same mistake twice, no matter what Xbox did, if you make that same mistake twice, no, PlayStation taking that fucking L for stupidity.
No, they did that just one time. But I will say though, one thing are people talking about is how this announcement. So PlayStation put out a video with Herman Host talking about Bluepoint accolade and stuff like that. And one thing people have paid attention to is the clothing that Herman Host was wearing was the same clothing that he was wearing during the PlayStation event. So they linked to one by one with one together, and they think that this might have been an announcement that would have been made at the PlayStation event, but they pulled back on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, in my head, I like to imagine that because of that Japanese fuck up, they were still in talks to buy Bluepoint, and because of that fuck up with that tweet, her Bluepoint stock went up. So Bluepoint came and said with the contract and said, "Yeah, we'll sign this when you put a few more O's on the end of this fucking number because our stock just went up."
Right.
I like to imagine that that's how it actually went.
Interesting.
Maybe.
That
Yeah.
could
I'm
be.
seeing a
That
few
actually
less
makes a lot of
zeros
sense.
on here than I want.
One thing for sure though, I don't believe PlayStation are gonna neglect their smaller studio for one simple reason. The studio that they just bought, which is the Fire something,
Right.
they
right.
bought a studio of their own, and with Housemarque, they equipped the studio with additional people, personnel, and stuff like that. So I am paying attention to what PlayStation is doing, and so far they've treated the studios, in my opinion, I could be wrong, equally. When it comes to PlayStation, what's called PlayStation Japan, the reason, from what I am hearing, the reason why PlayStation got rid of most of the studio is because it was way too cost heavy and they didn't optimize it properly, which is why we're seeing what we're seeing with turning it into almost like an Astrobot studio. Because they now have a vision and they're gonna focus on that vision. And I just can't wait for that.
How much do you think Dreams cost to make, and how much support is it? Like, I mean,
Oh,
you
but
could
that
kind of
is-
say the same thing about.
That didn't cost nothing. That didn't cost nothing. That's just the developers' tools for making games. They just released that and called it a game.
Speaking of Dreams, where is it at the
Where
moment?
is what?
Dreams. I mean, not where is it, as in like
Oh,
It's on the
Dream.
PlayStation
Yeah,
Store.
Dream
but like
Dream
you know,
is
are they
a
having
little
sort
bit-
of
Dream is a
updates?
little bit in
They are.
limbo, in my opinion.
Dream.
They're genuinely in limbo, and
I think. Oh, go ahead.
we might see an announcement for it going to PC. That's gonna give it an additional boost. But other than that, I never truly believed in Dream for the solely simple reason that it's just a demo maker, in my opinion. The only
I'm about to run these tapes back on your
Yeah,
ass.
I was about to turn around and fucking say. I swear to God.
I'm about to run these tapes back. I'm about to run these fucking tapes back. You know what? Jube knows I run the tapes back. I run back in the DMs.
I don't know how you
you-
find that shit, but you
if
you
you-
the DVR, bro.
If you heard me, I said it before. Dream is the fantastic what's called thing for demo maker, and I genuinely wished that it was different. But the amount of time, like I've seen some freaking amazing, and I genuinely mean amazing things in Dream. But the problem is they're like 5 minutes thing, maximum 30-minute thing. You're not gonna get a real game out of it unless you put your every single second in it, and it's gonna take a lot of time to create a new game. The only good thing out of Dream, I think, would be is PlayStation picking up who they see the creating the best damn thing and put them in a studio and have them create their own levels in Dream. That would be something that PlayStation, in my opinion, should do.
Yeah.
So, do we think that is it fair to say? I guess that. Well, actually, Kofi, because I think you were about to answer.
Yeah, I was about to answer some of the things. Well, I almost want to answer with criticism of Media Molecule because they have done some interesting things, like the VR additions that they had to the game. Their ability to add more development tools has been well received by their small community. But let me get to the criticisms. They need to somehow, they're hiring, by the way. So Media Molecule is getting bigger. They're a team that was around, I think they're a little bit smaller than Housemarque was by the time of Returnal release, like less than 80 employees.
If you're saying they're hiring means PlayStation is not neglecting them.
Okay, can I just talk about the irony that they release a fucking dev kit out there and they're asking for hires? Why didn't they just look at the games that are being made and ask the people who are making games on their fucking on their little sandbox creator if they want to join? It's literally the perfect recruitment tool.
To be fair, we know that is just rarely ever the case. You will get that one guy who makes the super popular thing who gets hired, but everybody else who makes excellent stuff just gets left by the wayside.
See, but still, it's still a good scout.
I will say really quick, I mean, Dante, I definitely agree with you. I think the game is definitely perceived as a dev kit. I will just throw in there, I love the story campaign. It's called Art's Story. It's about a character who has abandoned his family to pursue a career in jazz. It's a wonderful telling of a story, but it also is only like a 6-hour campaign. It does show the power of of the game. Them hiring. So like, here's the thing.
The power
here's
of
my
your
criticism,
dreams.
Not for my dreams. What was I going to say? Oh, they need to somehow use the PlayStation platform and PC, I think that's reasonable, to market a PlayStation 5 version of this game that incorporates multiplayer. So you can get in and have people, play together that's still not in the game. And then 2, if they're really going to pursue people creating original content that they can sell, they need to make some sort of way that people can get their eyeballs on that. If they're going to stick with Dreams, I think the engine is as creative as we've seen, right? We've seen the Nanite, the world of Nanite recreated in Dreams. That's incredible. Somebody did it with a controller. This
Someone
Unreal 5.
recreated the Unreal 5 engine demo.
Nanite.
I'm sure if Omar
genuinely
looks, he can
crazy.
find Legend of Dragoon on there as well if he looks hard enough.
So
yeah, Kofi. The one thing I'll say about all that is that like that's great, but like to create a PS5 version of it, we know how Sony's doing business with the next generation. You'd have to buy the game twice, and it's a game that's not already selling.
I think they're going to have to consider reducing. Let's say they do have that cost. It needs to be a low cost. All right, they need to go with this fixed $10 upgrade, and then give you something that makes it feel worth it. Adding multiplayer, adding more playable things. I think that's what they could do.
It would be nice. It would be nice if they did it, but I mean, I think it's difficult to ask them to do when the game if the game was selling, I'm sure they would make a PS5 version of it. But being that it doesn't sell, I don't see them doing it because of how their business model is if we remake this for you, if we remaster it or upscale it for you, you have to pay for that upscale, and it's already not selling. So,
but
speaking
of PlayStation's practices, moving swiftly and smoothly onto the next topic, PlayStation bringing back trials, but there's a big caveat to this. So, reading this article that I was sent about this does kind of indicate something that I'm not a big fan of. So, apparently, it's only in the UK right now. All of these trials. And the problem is, and this is the big fucking caveat to me, is the download trial, the timer for it actually starts the moment you hit download trial via the console or add to library via the web. Timer.
You better have some fast internet.
And and the trial, like Sackboy goes for 5 hours, and Death Stranding PlayStation 5 edition goes for 6 hours.
There's people that are going to take 3 hours to download that shit, and that sucks.
That is fucking awful, and just everybody watching can see the fucking fine print. I will fucking highlight it. Is fucking bad.
Everyone that I've spoken with is genuinely not a fan of what they're doing with this. However, they see the potential in it. And PlayStation genuinely need to consider scrapping the hours and replace it with percentage.
No, not even percentage. These trials are. No, let me get my point out because you're touching on something I want to get at, and then we'll move on to other people. Just let me finish this. My problem with this is effectively timed demos. Like they're calling it trials, but I'm glad to see demos are coming back. But I don't get like PC has had a lot of demos are making a comeback recently, which I'm so fucking happy about. It. But why is PlayStation deciding to go against the grain like this? Because Nintendo's got demos coming back. Fucking Capcom. Let me finish. Capcom is doing a lot of demos lately. PC has got a lot of demos out now because we've got the new Starship Troopers RTS that's coming out. That's got a demo. That's not coming out till next year. You've got Tales. Sorry. Fuck's sake, what was it? The card game, Voice of Cards. Like that's got a demo.
Tales did have a demo.
Trials had a demo. Triangle Strategy had a demo, but none of them were timed. They were like from my understanding, they were slice of life. They were like, we're gonna cut out this section of the game and release it. Like we're not gonna leave anything to chance. We're gonna just cut out this part. No hidden files. You can't dare to mine this shit. We're gonna slice these games out and we're gonna put them out there. Where these are just like timed. These are just like limited time demos that you just can't redo again. Like maybe like that they shouldn't be timed. They should just cut out a slice of the game and release it as a demo for you to try. or a few sections of the game, so you can try it over and over and over again as many times as you wish. So then you can make an informed purchase. Because like 6 hours, like you don't learn about. In my opinion, like you can learn from a demo or a trial, but like there's only certain. You learn more about a game via replayability. Because then you've got more time to experiment, you've got more time to learn the ins and outs of the demo and the game to prepare you for the game that's coming out, and if you want to purchase it. Where a trial like this just doesn't give you that afforded time.
Nope.
And like I said, with saying hitting the library, like that's not even the full fucking 6 hours. Right now, Omar, go ahead. You can go first.
Okay. So. First off, what I want PlayStation to do, remove hours and replace it with percentage. What I mean by that, instead of having your timer start from the second you download, no, from the second you start playing, and make it so, because right now, literally, I can beat Sackboy Adventure in 5 hours. Like, that's genuinely doable for me. I don't need to get perfect on every chapter. I can do it. Easy. I don't want PlayStation to have this done to them and then them rethinking and saying, yeah, no, we're going to scrap this entire situation, the entire thing. That's why they should replace hours with percentage. In this way, you're giving people enough time to play the game and then make their purchase from that experience.
Not really, not really, because again, it's one trial per account. Like you can't go back and replay the demo. It's once it's done, that's it.
You don't need to though. You genuinely don't.
But what if you want to?
Sorry?
What if we want to? Like get out your own headspace for a second and think about what if someone did want to play the demo. Here's the thing. Another question. Do you, in fact, let's ask the peanut gallery here. Jube, would you play a demo multiple times just so you can get a good feel of the game to make sure if you want to purchase it or not, or is one playthrough of a demo enough, depending on how long it is?
I would want to play it multiple times. It's kind of sad that EA has a better trial program.
Okay, hold on.
Than PlayStation does.
Farrell, what about you?
It depends on the game. But yeah, I would play a demo a couple of times just to get a feel for the combat or something like that. Especially like if I buy the game, like if I pre-order the game and like I want to get like a good feel for it before the game fully comes out, like the battle system or something like that. Yeah, I definitely would.
All right, Zero, what about you?
I'm a little bit with Pharaoh. I would say it depends on the game. So, like, I just recently played the Voice of Cards demo. No, I'm not doing it again. It's an RPG. I get what they're doing here. Something maybe like a racer or a fighter where I can actually delve into it. Yeah, that replayability will be key on that one.
Kofi, what about you?
I can answer almost similarly to Reggie, but in the opposite way. When I played the Tales of Arise demo, I had like 2 fights. I was like, I don't need it anymore. Like, I'm buying the game. It was exactly what I was looking for.
Okay.
But there are cases of me coming back, especially when games are expensive. For example, what's it called? The game, it's only out in Japan. Utawara no Monozan 2. I did, come back on that, and that has a real you can play like many missions, like 5 missions in that game. It's a huge demo, so I did appreciate coming back twice for that.
Yeah, because even the Resident Evil 2 demo on when that came out was timed, and you couldn't play it multiple times either. Like both of them actually, it was the same for I think it was the same for 7 as well, and 3.
Here is the thing with this. This is not. Okay, so let me then ask you guys, and feel free to answer. Why are the demos disappear?
Because people just start buying games, and one of the main reasons, and this is the God's honest truth, and I'll even look it up. game devs didn't actually lock out a lot of their game content. They didn't get rid of all of the files, so data miners were actually able to find a lot of information through demo discs about games before they even released. That was one of the major contributing factors to why demos went the way of the dodo, because of data mining. In fact, there was one recently. I can't remember which one it was, but there was
Halo just had a data mine.
Halo, data mine.
Yeah, Halo had a data mine. There was another one like about 2 years back. The demo, they accidentally put the full fucking version of the game out with the demo by accident, and people data mine the shit out of that. Data mining is the reason why demos stopped coming out, because developers and publishers just hated the fact that all of these people were able to crack their fucking demos and learn everything about the game before it even came out, because they were too fucking lazy to do slice of life content.
And that Xenogears demo, played the thing like 5,000 times when I was a kid before I actually got the game.
With trial, can they still data mine?
Yes, because it is not a case of it's not a case of timed or time or anything like that. It is purely like what the devs decide to leave in on what they decide to take out. Like,
and taking out, is it time consuming?
You're not downloading the full game. You're just downloading. You're still essentially downloading a demo, but it has a time limit attached to it.
Yeah, but the thing
is,
you're
downloading the full game.
No, because
you're downloading the full game, but as far as you make it, is as far as you make it.
Yeah, but no, not necessarily, because like even in those, they could still leave in a lot of files that you're not meant to access. For example, it's a weird example, but it's a thing of what I'm talking about. Remember the hot coffee scenario where for the console version, and the PC version, they just basically cut off the thing, but data miners found it. That is effectively what can happen with demos. They'll just cut off areas of code, and data miners will go in and find those codes and get a lot of information from it.
Is removing the files time consuming?
Oh shit!
Well, I was gonna say, Dante, you have a really good point, because these trials count for trophies, which means you cannot change the game. It's not like a demo where you're never going to get the trophies for that.
Thank you. Yeah. There goes my fucking point. Thank you. Kofi.
And I think part of the challenge is because I think we keep thinking of demos when we were coming up. Well, part of it is, and Dante, you've made the point. You know, if you played Final Fantasy VII, they literally just cut out a piece of the game and put it on a disc. Whereas these demos are still pretty connected to what the full game is going to be. So when you want to data mine and do things in that instance, it's much easier to do, particularly today, because we live in a sort of digital distribution world. There are no more demo discs, as far as I can tell, period.
But I'm not thinking about demo disc. Okay, so here is how I am envisioning this to be. If it works out, if it genuinely works the way I want it to be, this could change and prevent companies from giving us unfinished product. How? By allowing us to play 10%, let's say 10% of the game, get the feel for it. This can be third party, multiplat, indies. If PlayStation is able to create something like that, like a debacle like Cyberpunk 77 would never happen again for one simple reason. When you're gonna try the game, you're gonna see how fucked up it is, and you're gonna think twice before buying it, and that's gonna prevent other companies from releasing unbroken game. However, if a company says we are not gonna partake in and allow trials to happen, then I'm gonna look at you, company, with the magnifying eye. Why? Because you have something to hide, and that's genuinely how I see it.
Dragon Slayer.
Everybody's gonna start releasing demos. I mean, you're gonna get some high-profile game demos, but
Dragon Slayer is calling bullshit on your statement, by the way.
I think
because here's the thing. Here's and I think I know where he's coming from. Because the problem is even then they could possibly polish up the section that they're gonna allow you to play through because it's 10%. Because if it's 10% from beginning to start, they could make sure that 10% is polished out. But not just that. A lot of bugs are not 100% guaranteed to work. For example, my infamous Battle Royale entry into Days Gone. Like, that was a bug that I just happened to stumble across, and I've never been able to replicate it. You wouldn't find that in, like, a 10%, in, like, 10% of a game, or on a timed trial. You won't be able to find that because it's just one of those bugs that just happens under a blue moon. And a lot of other bugs are similar to that. Like, you don't have the time to test for every other game. You don't have the chance in a small section, or like 10% of a game, or with a trial, to be able to thoroughly test out a game. That's why QA testing takes weeks, if not months, to do, if done correctly, should I say.
The difference is when I'm taking the key point I made, which is CD Projekt Red. Their game Cyberpunk on PlayStation 4 and Xbox, the OG one, it ran horrible and it had a lot of glitches that you could see, like within the first few hours playing the game.
But
Like,
you're still making the assumption that like 100% of
but
games coming out
also,
will have a demo attached to them.
Can you genuinely, if you're gonna polish a game and leave the very first few percentage polished, can you do that while the final game would be then totally different?
Yes, because it's called day one patches.
That was going to be a bit of my point, but I think we probably need to back up just a bit, because I think the crux of it all is the usefulness of demos, and while we enjoy them, but Dante kind of clarified why they went away in the first place. That hasn't stopped, right? Like that whole thing about data mining hasn't gone away. In fact, it's got even worse.
In a sense, yeah, but that's because, again, I can't blame the data miners there, because that's literally their job. Kind of like the dev's job to actually make sure that all of this data that they're mining is not in a fucking demo.
Yeah, I'm not actually blaming.
Why is that
honestly,
their job?
I mean, that's just what they do. Like,
yeah, but is that not bad for us?
What?
I mean, it all depends on where you come from. Like, for example, data miners also are leakers. So people who data mine things and say, here's the new Smash that's coming, or maybe there's factions in The Last of Us 2, but we all sort of like the leakers, and we will praise them, particularly if they're like mostly correct about stuff. So
yeah, this is how we find out about patents and stuff like that.
It's just part of. I don't know if you can't stand on more ground for it, but it is part of like gaming culture, and it really has been for a long time.
It's been a part of gaming culture since the damn 90s. Like, it's been since honestly, this whole thing kind of ramped up into overdrive with this kind of stuff around the PlayStation, when everything started going like onto discs. Like, because even back in the day, people were creating like homebrew NES games and stuff, and Super Nintendo games. Let's not forget, like one of the most famous and infamous homebrews ever, Super Noah's Ark 3D, was done by jerry-rigging a cartridge on top of an existing cartridge to be able to get it to work. That had to be done somehow through mining.
Yeah, and like I actually think, Omar, I think the percentage thing, I don't think that's particularly too different from, I guess, how demos sort of work anyway. Like, all demos just stop at a certain point.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like, and I think it should be up to whoever makes it to decide where to stop. Because 10% of Hades is not 10% of Last of Us, so you got to figure out how you want to do it, and work out that way. But I think the key point, and Dante made, is like, demos sort of went away for a reason, and they're kind of coming back, but they still aren't back in like they were, because truth be told, companies have figured out they don't need them. Like, Last of Us didn't need a demo, did great. Hades probably could have benefited from a demo, did great. Halo is having one, but those are more like stress tests and beta tests, which is what we're much more seeing now.
Yeah, because you can never get. Sorry, you can never get improvements out before the game's out when they're doing betas and stuff like that with a release date so damn close.
Yeah, or even Project Triangle Strategy was it was a demo, but it really was a beta. They were asking us, hey, what do you like, what do you don't like, so we can sort of fix this and make it better as it goes along. Famous example.
Sorry, which is why demos are more important these days, in my opinion, than they were back in the day. Because now we have a better line of communication to developers that we can say, this works, this doesn't, or we love this, continue with this.
Absolutely. The challenge is, I think, games like Fortnite and stuff broke that relationship we could have had. And they broke them in the sense that they can hear us and they'll just simply say, we'll get to it eventually. Not, okay, we won't release this game. Say, no, we still release the game and we want you to pay for it, but we'll fix it eventually. No Man's Sky, Sea of Thieves, Outriders, a lot of service games, which, like them or love them, they're here to stay. Or just like, we'll get to them at some point, but like the release date's the release date. So it's coming out regardless, and then you'll get your day 1 patch, or your week 5 patch, when what we want is the ability to test the game, see how good it is, and decide whether or not we want to buy it. But that line of communication, I think, is broken. Of course, there are some devs who do well. The Monster Hunter devs do a great time talking to the community. I hate to bring up his name, but Jeff Kaplan, before he left Blizzard, also did a pretty good job of like speaking with the community. So does some of the Bungie folks like Deej and all of them. But I think those are the outliers, not the sort of norm. The norm is that demos, I think, are still hard for companies, and we don't. There's an entire generation that just really aren't familiar with demos at all, in the same way that we are. So it's just like, I don't think they particularly care. I think we're asking for something that is just harder to do than it used to be when we were playing. So I don't know. Like, I'm certainly like to see demos coming back, and I guess it's cool that PlayStation's trying it. But I don't know if this is going to be the thing that, like, I don't think PlayStation's going to make any real headway with this, other than just like allowing us to have demos.
Has anybody else got any thoughts on this? Jubei, Pharaoh?
Yeah.
How many first parties are in this program?
2 so far.
For the PlayStation trial program, is it a bunch of first parties? I know you said
it's Death Stranding and Sackboy.
Yeah, so
Sackboy. So it's just those two.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if this is really going somewhere. I mean, I know you said Nintendo's doing it, but I don't think you're going to see like this huge wave of third-party demos. I think you'll see some, but I think it's just something that PlayStation is doing.
Yeah. And to your point, Pharaoh, like some Nintendo games have them, but like Pokemon Snap didn't have it. I seriously doubt that. Actually, none of the Pokemons had them.
No.
Metroid Dread doesn't have it.
Xbox isn't going to do it because they don't have any incentive to do it because they have the Game Pass service. So.
I don't know who chooses and wants to, but like particularly from a first party standpoint, it does not seem like a lot of the first parties get demos.
This is true.
Yeah.
My other thing is like this thing is dead in the water if they keep it so like when you start downloading, like it's internet sucks in a lot of places for a lot of people.
It even states
that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, sorry. It even states here. I'm downloading the Death Stranding trial right now. My PlayStation tells me it'll take nearly 2 hours before I've downloaded enough data to start playing, and 3 hours until all the data is downloading, which means I'll just have a few hours of my trial left to play the game.
Yeah, which is completely ridiculous. Versus EA will let you play just 10 hours. As long as you're launching and closing the game, you should have 10 hours of gameplay on whatever they have for their game trials, which is how it should work. Like, it should work when you press and launch the game. Like, your timer should start while you're actively using the game and should stop when you turn the game off. Like, I'm not saying that they need to give out 10-hour trials, but that timer should not kick on when you're starting the download, because that's garbage. This is tying into how shitty their refund policy is, where, as soon as you hit the download button on the site, even if it's not actively downloading, even if it's just queued, you can't refund it anymore because they consider it already downloaded at that point. That's crap. That all just goes back to their own policies there. So hopefully they change it, because otherwise this is going to die, and they're just not going to do it anymore.
Yeah,
they have to change
it. People are gonna do it because it'll be all they have, but it won't be something that you brag about.
Yeah, but 3 hours to play 2 hours of Death Stranding, that sucks.
Yeah, and considering most of that game doesn't kick off until I love Hideo Kojima, but that game doesn't even kick off until 5 hours into the fucking game because of all the fucking cutscenes.
Yeah.
Kofi, you've been auspiciously quiet about this. Do you have anything to say on this? Because I can finally bring you up. Go ahead.
I can say a lot, but I don't have much to add. I mean, I also think it's a really bad idea. I can't believe it. Well, Dante, you said this very accurately, and I think that's why I could take a back seat. You said Trials will come back, which is very much the truth. A lot of people don't know that this was already a thing back at the PS3, and there was more games back then too. So the positive, I guess, I could take away is your trophies do transfer. Sometimes I hate playing it, for example, the Final Fantasy 14 trial. You can play I think up to level, is it 15 or no, up to level 20, I think, on Final Fantasy 14 I'm talking about. But then when you get the full game, none of your trophies transfer. That kind of stuff bothers me.
I think it does transfer because this is you only when you buy the game you can just simply continue playing.
No, I'm saying that the trials now do. That's the positive I'm taking away.
Yeah.
Unlike demos. Demos that don't. If you're actually ready to enjoy the story and know that you're getting spoiled. Some people don't want to play the game fully until they actually own it. But anyway, no, I think that's a positive. Can't believe that they're doing it this way. I'm fine with the two titles. To be honest, I haven't played Sackboy, but this is only in Europe, you said, right, Dante? So it's
only in the UK, apparently.
It's only in UK.
Only in UK, so it's,
and I couldn't tell you how really bad it is, considering I don't have a PlayStation 5.
That's right. Yeah, you can't even play these two. So, it just seems like a weird that one caveat. It's just such a weird choice. I can't believe they did that. Let's just hope they change that part. And then add more things. Let's get some sort of rotation going on.
Yeah. All right. Well, Kofi, seeing as you are up to bat talking, I want you to start us off on this next subject, because I was kind of apprehensive about talking about this, but we might as well touch upon it. Some Japanese chains have stopped selling Xbox Series S and X's because of Game Pass. Please take the floor and explain what the fuck this is about.
All right, guys. So luckily, I did enough research to talk about this, and based on what I know, I will spoil some of it. It's somewhat inconclusive, but I think you'll be kind of interested in what I did. So let's go to the original tweet that generated all this news.
Can you send that to me on Discord, please? Because I'll bring it up.
Oh, yeah. Let me.
If you have it, because I'm assuming you're going to talk about it.
I'm going to Discord. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to put it in general. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. I can look for it in general.
Sometimes my internet is a little bit slow, so I apologize because the link may not.
Don't worry about it. My friend Violet's internet. He's got internet back when Germany thought a Third Reich was a good idea.
All right, so I just posted to general. At least it says posted from my side.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this user is by name of Banto1616_Xbox is tweeting his concerns, and so let's do a little bit of translation here. He's basically saying, "Hey, I'm hanging out in a Geo store." So, by the way, Geo is a fairly major video game DVD retailer all over the country, I mind you, and I'll talk a little bit about that more. Looking around, and I see that the Xboxes that just started selling won't be sold anymore. What? He's like, really? That's really sad. It looks like there are still right now, right at this moment, still some Series S's that are being left behind. Okay, so he's looking at a sign that says certain things will end in their sale on Sunday, November 7th. Now, people are curious about the dates here. 9/30 is when the Okay, let me kind of go through things. So, it's basically saying the below things will no longer be sold. The PSP, and this includes, by the way, software, accessories, and the actual hardware itself. Okay, and I'll go into all this because I know you guys have a lot of questions. The PSP and the UMD, like they're talking about, not the PSP Go, which probably died a long time ago.
Oh,
People don't
fuck
know
yeah,
the
that fucking
digital
died.
only version. PS2, PS1, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, and Xbox. Oh, what are those characters? Right. Okay, so this does include the series version of the characters. That's what those four symbols say. The first symbol means all, everything, and the last is the katakana for series. So we know he's talking about the series consoles and not just Xbox One, S, and all that stuff. Okay, the dates. On the 30th of September is when new versions, or like when you go to buy the retail price of items of those items in the white box, will no longer be sold new. The 7th is when a special sale will be for all used items. So like if you want to buy used PS2, used Series X, whatever, and then all sales will end on the 7th. So obviously this created, I think this is what was majorly quoted for that article. All right, so, and that created a lot of noise. But I do follow my own chain of Japanese natives that are Xbox fans. And I can tell you right now, this is not nearly enough to go on to say that Series is being sold out and not returning. What did I do? Well, one, I did reach out to some of my friends in Japan, part of my Trails Facebook group, and while they have not gotten back to me, which is why I said some of this is inconclusive, I did some of my own digging because I love you guys so much. I spoofed my own IP and set it up. So here's the thing: I've shopped on Geo. I've gotten because they sell steel boxes. They have like steel box exclusivity rights for physical games. So I've been buying from them for like 2 years. I set up my IP, spoofed my IP in Japan, and then just did a local store search. So they've got as many stores around as like a GameStop, maybe a little bit less. And I would say for every major city, like something as south as Okinawa or Tokyo, Hokkaido, I would say, let's say there are 13 stores in Japan. That's way reducing the number, so it's giving you an idea. I would say 2 of those stores still have Xbox Series S's and X's in stock. They have pre-orders for the Halo Infinite. The Halo Infinite version of the Series X that still will be sold in a few weeks. And then I just jump between the different regions, just doing that again, searching like within like 100 miles of every city. So at this point, you can still find 1 or 2 of those retailers in these major areas. So I just don't think there's enough evidence to suggest. And remember, we're just talking about Geo. There are competitors, right? You can go through Amazon. There's other local businesses that may not be as big as Geo, but there's just not enough evidence to suggest that they are going to stop selling it. What is suspicious on the surface is if you just go to Geo's website, Xbox is nowhere. Like it's like Switch, get your new Switch OLED, get your new PlayStation 5 digital this, but Xbox, there's no link. You have to do all this digging. It's like they don't care, and you have to I had to literally spoof my own address to look at physical stores to find if they had it in stock. But at least according to that stock, tool that they have with their app doing the IP spoof, you could find out that. So
to cities like Tokyo, I'm just curious. In major metropolitan areas like Tokyo and Okinawa, there's more than just one Geo store in the entire city, isn't there?
Absolutely. I mean, in Tokyo, there was like 30 of them.
Yeah, so in 30, there's a possibility of at least probably about half of them still selling Xbox Series S and X's.
I would say from the stocks I saw for SX and pre-orders for the Infinite version, if you did have 30 stores, I would say 6 or 7 of them have it in stock. It's not like anywhere close to half.
Right. Okay.
Sure.
So, but
it is there.
But those stores, I'm assuming, do they do delivery?
Good question. The way the online site is set up, it does not look like you can order a Series X console through the mail for Geo. I mean, it's just completely missing.
Right.
But if you went into the store, you can pick it up. And that's where you see a lot of these Japanese users tweet. They'll tweet like, "Oh, we have 6 in store." Like they tweet pictures of it. They don't tweet that it's on the website.
Right. So
which would be really easy for somebody like me to find.
then I got another question. Is it possible, because a couple of chains do this in the UK, specifically like pre-owned stores, like you could hypothetically go in, order it, and they'll ship it from another store and have it brought to that store? What could they do that there? I'm trying to map something out in my head because I've got a working theory on this myself.
So I don't know that for sure. Somebody got to mute themselves. Is that fair?
Damn it, Pharaoh.
Can you mute yourself?
Let's take a moment to appreciate. Let's just take a moment to find it adorable how Pharaoh is multitasking this and being a father.
He was letting us know, he was giving us his entire opinion on the Xbox situation over in Japan, and you just kind of muted him. That's fine. Wow. Way to cut the youth down now, Dante. You get a little bit of power, and you go straight to your head.
Right there. Oh, dude, you didn't see me playing Minecraft today. Holy shit. That I went power mad. But please, Kofi, continue.
So I will say this. The app for buying used items, for pre-ordering things is very well put together, like a GameStop over there. But I didn't see anything as convenient through the app that would get things delivered. I'm sure if you maybe went to a center, like you're saying, let's say like the closest one is like 50 kilometers away. You're like, can you just send that here? I think there is some sort of service for that. Maybe that's what I should ask my buddy when he gets back.
Because here's the thing. My working theory to this isn't that they're not selling Xboxes or anything like that. These retailers, because like you said, they sell pre-owned, but they also sell brand new stock. Because like they're definitely not just a pre-owned store like what a CEX is here, Cash Exchange or Cash Converters, where they just sell pre-owned stock. Like this to me sounds more like they've looked at the previous attempts of Microsoft in the region of Japan, and they're taking a look at that, and they're thinking to themselves, what is the most reasonable amount of Xbox stock we can bring in without breaking bank that we know we can ship, and if we oversell, we can order more because then we'll know there's a demand for it and we can set up a wait list. Because previously, Xbox consoles have not sold well in Japan whatsoever.
Right, and that's the thing. You can look at Famitsu sales, and it's better than it was for the last gen, but it's also not like competing with Switch or competing with PlayStation. And we all knew that, right? We weren't like expecting, absolutely crazy numbers. And also to your point, I see a lot of Japanese natives tweeting about Game Pass, not necessarily an Xbox.
Yeah.
They're not tied to that hardware so much. So yeah, it really is. I think they're just trying to meet demand. They're not going to throw it in every... And this is, again, Geo is not the primary retail place. Yeah. There are others that are going to have more stock, more customers. But Geo has a ton. Like, shoot, I guess they have like maybe a couple thousand or 1,500 stores throughout the country. So it's not a little.
Yeah. This just sounds like this to me, like as somebody who knows at least about Xbox's past in Japan. And like, just
he might be
retail.
Talking about his store.
This just sounds like reasonable stock intake. Like we're not going to be selling this because we're not on the itinerary to have these sent here, but there's still going to be other stores that sell it. So they just meet supply and demand.
That's right. So that's absolutely right.
This sounds like no disrespect. This sounds like a non-fucking story.
I agree with you.
This sounds like I'm seeing smoke, but I'm not seeing any goddamn fire.
Yep. It's just it happens to be in his area that one of those stores flipped from selling it to not, and there are others. But I believe that his store won't sell it for maybe a long time. But it's just him. It's just that one store.
Does anybody have anything else? Sorry, I'm just really dumbfounded that this found its way onto our thing. I vehemently blame Omar. But has anybody else got anything they want to say?
I was just kind of curious. So the tweet itself came from someone in Japan.
Oh yeah, Japanese native. I mean,
Japanese native.
I'm gonna
Okay.
assume this guy's Japanese native.
And so that I have to put on, I guess, my ignorant American hat, if you will. That there's a part of it because the way I read it, it was like, of course, our Twitter space would kind of blow up about it because that's how we operate. But I could possibly be wrong, but I'm pretty sure most of the people in the circles that we interact with, save for Kofi and Dante, are from the U.S. You know, I think if we just randomly run off names of folks that we sort of see and interact with regularly, like they're American. And so what seems to be, I think, sometimes missing is how we perceive what happens in other countries.
Yes.
And I, from dealing, Kofi has a sort of eye on the ball on that one because, like, that's a culture that he studied. People like Omar and Dante flat out are in other cultures. So, it feels like, I agree. Maybe it's much still about nothing due to just a bit of ignorance on how other places operate. Because I think we tend to always look at it from the American perspective.
I got to disagree with that, Zero. Sorry, I got to disagree with that. This isn't even a cultural thing. This is just smart business. A smart business knows no language other than the color green. Like, this, like, vehemently. Like, I don't even think Pharaoh or Jew Baby and these staunch Xbox guys that they are would disagree. Xbox has never done that well in Japan. And this, to me, just seems like reasonable expectations. Like, okay, we've looked. Okay, it's never sold well before. Let's get in. Like, it's a hot new console, though. Let's get in. Like, maybe a couple thousand units. Let's spread them out across some stores. If it sells well, then we'll spread them out even more and maybe get some more stock in. Like, this just sounds like being smart business, and any smart business would do this if supply and demand just is not there in large quantities for a product.
And really quick, I kind of feel what you were saying, Reggie, because this news came out and it automatically went to Twitter war. And it was interesting because people tweeted that guy's original tweet, like outside of the article, right? It's referenced in the article, but people were like, look at this guy. But you can tell, at least from what I could see, that person who tweeted that is a real Xbox fan in Japan. Like, he wanted to play that and he was really sad. Then guess what? His account went private. So my guess is people started retweeting him. And I don't want to stereotype, but when Japanese people see lots of replies in a language they don't necessarily know, I mean, I'm assuming they kind of like kawaii. Like, they don't really like that. Like, I've seen, for example, Japanese YouTube videos. Sometimes English speakers or speakers of another language will jump onto that video for some outside hype reason in the difference in cultures. And then other Japanese commenters will reply and be like, what is going on? Like, why are these English speakers all of a sudden up in this video? We're usually here and it's just us. And I'm not saying in a negative, they're just surprised. It's kind of off-putting for them. So I think he just privated his account and he's like, I don't want any part of this. This wasn't what my
intention.
Yeah,
I wasn't trying to get into this American console war bullshit.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah, and that's my sort of thought process, because I think we've seen it happen a lot. Sometimes video games, sometimes other things where we will be sort of just wildly up in arms, and the people on the other side of the ocean are like, I don't understand what the problem is.
Americans overreacting? No.
Why is everybody yelling? By the way, everything's cool over here.
I need to take this dude's fucking name away, because the more and more I look at that fucking Twitter handle, the more and more I want a fucking bento box. For fuck's sake, get that away from me. Fuck's sake. Getting hungry over here.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Zero. I just don't think this is a cultural thing. I think this is just a money thing.
Absolutely.
And I think Kofi covered it for me. I think you're right. What it for me was, it's the reaction to, not necessarily the store's operating thing. It's like how this became a big deal. Why?
It shouldn't be a big deal.
No,
the last anywhere close to approaching successful Xbox console was the 360, because they actually had, raw support. We had fucking.
You were the new kid. You were relative with the new kid on the block.
Exactly.
I guarantee you that.
We
I guarantee you that. What is it?
we had Lost Odyssey. We actually had Japanese focused games that were actually kind of popular. Like they had traction in Japan.
Very
Then it fell off a
curious.
cliff. So
Well, now there's a new shift that we've seen at the Tokyo Game Show.
mhm.
Full localization for future Xbox games was announced,
Which is
So,
great. I think
that's a step in
Starfield's
the
going
right
to do.
direction.
If
Oh, yeah.
Starfield's a good game, I think that's going to do fine over there. Just because
Really quick, I know Pharaoh and Jubei, you're gonna love this. Remember I was talking about how some of my friends in my circle, Japanese natives, love Skyrim, right?
Yep.
Well, guess what the first Western game in Japan that received a perfect Famitsu score was?
Fucking Skyrim.
Yep.
Fucking hell.
First game in history.
You know, we're fucking sick of
You know the
seeing
game
it.
is
They can't get enough of it. For fuck's sake, Japan, you're not helping.
So, I mean, I think things are looking better for Xbox in Japan, but it would be my bet that Japan will probably be the first country, maybe Australia the second country, where they actually get more Game Pass subs than they actually sell consoles.
No, Japan. To be fair, Australia's going downhill in the fucking in the most epic fucking way possible. So Japan will probably beat it out immediately. I mean, for fuck's sake, sorry, I'm just looking at numbers. Yeah, the Xbox 360 sold 1.6 million consoles in Japan as of August 31st, 2014. The only thing that came close to that was the original Xbox with 472,000.
Yep, and the Xbox One didn't even sniff anywhere near that.
Xbox One sold.
Well, the thing, I think just because of how expensive games are in Japan, I mean, in Australia, I think they're gonna kill with Game Pass.
I mean,
absolutely.
Not to sound like an absolute dick, but the S and X, if I'm looking at these numbers correctly, is not even sniffing the Xbox One sales either. Combined, as of September 26, 2021, it's not even sold 100,000 units. So again, that goes to
now. If they had the stock, do you think that would be different?
No, because again,
I don't.
there's no
I think
demand.
Game Pass is what moves, and it's all about mobile gaming in Japan. So,
well, not just all the games.
Game Pass will allow that.
It's all about portability as well in Japan. I mean,
like outside of the Switch, console gaming in Japan is declining anyway, just because everybody wants to be mobile.
I mean, if we had to look at the numbers, the top 3 selling systems in Japan have been handhelds: the DS, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, and the 3DS. The only one that sniffs that is the PlayStation 2 with 21 million fucking units, and that's because it was the PlayStation, Japanese company and shit like that, and it had a lot of Japanese support. And Sony market the hell out of that, and then literally right behind that, by I kid you not, 254,000 units is the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
like the Switch will give it fucking zero usual questions. Where the hell all these Mario Kart 8 fucking players are that have never played it? It's because Japan's fucking buying them all, because Japan is most likely going to allow or get the Switch to overtake the PlayStation 2 at some point. If there is somehow 255,000 people in Japan who have never played a Switch.
Oh yeah, on top of that, at any time they can just drop another Mario Kart.
And that's true.
I could just
do it. Again. The right behind that. Guess what? One sec. Okay, if we're gonna take numbers into consideration, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Guess what the 6th largest selling unit in Japan is? It's the fucking PSP.
Let's go.
No, yeah, the PSP.
Love the PSP.
Yeah, fucking 19 million goddamn units. So yeah, like I said,
I will always say the only people that are really buying Xboxes in Japan are military people stationed in Japan and Americans that happen to live in Japan for some
or just Japanese enthusiasts who just like owning all the consoles, which is very rare.
That's a very small number,
but still, it's still a number. It's still a number that's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Xbox gateway to Japan is Game Pass.
Okay.
Game Pass, and that's...
So here's the thing. Right. So, has anybody else got anything to say about this? Because I know because it's Omar wanted to talk about this. He was very staunch and wanted to talk about it, so I'm sure he has something to say about it. But does anybody have anything else before we move on to Omar?
No, I think I'm good. I think it's a nothing burger, to be honest, because it's money. But yeah.
Omar, have you got anything you want to add to this?
No, I want to thank Coffee for doing his research on this. He's the only person that speaks Japanese in here.
Alright. So we've got one more item on the docket that we could do as a debate if you guys are up for it, or we can just move straight to the outros. What would you guys like?
What did he say beforehand?
I said we've got...
What's the last topic?
It's not really a topic, it's more of a debate thing, and it was one that Omar wanted to do. In fact, he said that it was part of the topics. I don't know who brought it up, but skippable bosses. I feel like that's more of a debate thing than a topic.
If I could,
skippable bosses.
So would you?
If I could request,
guys,
I would say hold it for next week.
Okay, but then we'll hold it for next week, and we're just gonna go straight to the outros. But while we're in the outros, I'm gonna do something I've not done in a long time. Seeing as I have the fucking power here, ladies and gentlemen, I have the fucking authority. So I can actually do this for once, because it's the first VGP of the new month. So let's quickly go down releases, shall we? It's a very short list, so don't worry. On the 1st of October for PC, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox, Switch, and Stadia is FIFA 22. Exophobia for the PC, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox, and Switch on the 5th of October. Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania for apparently that's coming out for PC. That's not true. PC, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox, and Switch. That I don't believe. What the fuck? This list is wrong. I'll just go by titles. Far Cry 6 is coming out on the 7th of October. Metroid Dread will be coming out on the 8th of October. Back 4 Blood will be coming out on the 12th of October. The Idolmaster Starlit Season will be coming out on the 14th of October. Monarch will be coming out on the 14th of October as well. Dragon Slayer Kasui no Yoba will be coming out on the 15th of October. The Caligula Effect 2 will be coming out on the 19th of October. I don't know if this
Caligula.
Caligula. The Caligula Effect 2. Thank you.
That other game was Demon Slayer. Kimetsu no Yaiba.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah,
my God, I know that name.
I did say Demon Slayer, didn't I?
You said Dragon Slayer.
Did I? Oh, okay, no, sorry. Fuck. I fucked it up. I've had multiple jobs today. Shut up. And it's fucking 3 a.m. for me, so blow me. Battlefield 2042 is apparently coming out on the 22nd of October, which I don't believe because apparently that got delayed. The Dark Pictures anthology House of Ashes comes out on the 22nd of October. Guardians of the Galaxy comes out on the 26th of October. Solar Ash comes out on the 26th of October. Riders Republic comes out on the 28th of October. Age of Empires 4 comes out on the 28th of October. Fatal Frame Maiden of the Black Water comes out on the 28th of October. And Mario Party Superstars comes out on the 29th of October. That is your releases for the month of October, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, Jubei, where the fuck can we find you, homie?
You can find me at Jubei Sensei on Twitter, Jubei X Sensei everywhere else. Like I said, I'm going to get back to my mental health and playing some indie games to kind of decompress a little bit. And hopefully get back into Deathloop. I do got to finish Kina as well. So I'll be right behind Omar in finishing that.
I
know. As I said, I'll be behind you. I'm not going to platinum it though. I don't find it interesting enough to play it again. So I am going to finish it though.
Kofi, other than translating Japanese, where can people find you?
That's going to be most of my life in October. But you guys can find me at creative_Kofi on Twitter and at zerofield.net. Also, check out February Night's YouTube channel. Sometimes I will be doing live streams on there. I think we're just going to be casually enjoying watching Feb play, and then we'll be translating as he does text capture. So, yeah.
All right. Pharaoh, aside from playing Madden, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Pharaoh Bazaar, Twitch at Land of Pharaoh. You can search me on YouTube, Feral Bassard, and I'm on Facebook at Feral Bassard. And I will be streaming Tales of Arise probably every day this week, hopefully. If my little monsters, as you heard, don't take over my life. So,
Zero, aside from you preaching the gospel of Tales, where can people find you?
Also preaching the gospel of our second coming, Hades. Game of the Year award winning Hades. You really should play it. It's an excellent game. If you don't really know about it, it's this sort of indie roguelike game where you play Zagreus, son of famous Greek guy Hades. Just give it a try it out. Like, I know it's not really popping in the streets like that, but you should try to give it out. It's fantastic.
it's definitely popping in the streets, bro.
Probably.
But anyways, guys, as always, it's been a blast. We've made some changes. Dante, you've done an excellent job, so thank you for spearheading us today. As always, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn, pretty much anywhere there is a podcast, we will be on it. So please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out Omar's podcast. Please tune in to Land of Pharaoh. Please listen to Kofi for his translation things. He is like a human Duolingo, and he will pop up on you and be like, hey, are you studying? Did you use languages today? So, like, make sure to study your languages, otherwise Kofi will appear at your house. And that's it for me. You can find me at 0x386 pretty much everywhere.
Alright, Omar, where can people find you?
People can find me at Caravan_Shahab on Twitter, and also Omar Shahab on YouTube channel. I need to change my name on YouTube channel for Game Slayer. Yeah, that's about it.
Alright, and I have been your host for today, Dante Crisis. You can find me at Dante Crisis on Instagram and Twitter, The Dante Crisis on Facebook, and I stream on YouTube, Twitch, and DLive at Dante Crisis as well. And once again, thank you for enjoying today's podcast. Thank you for putting up with me, and remember, keep it gaming! Alright, we're out of